Yeah, it appears to me from speaking with you in the first few minutes of this interview that you're more excited about being involved in a new venture, which could really sort of harken back to the days when you first started at the UFC, because you were on the cutting edge with that as well.
Well, I've been very fortunate and blessed to be in a lot of different situations where I was able to do a lot of things first. I was very lucky over in Japan to be a part of that organization and create the Pancrase organization with Funaki and Suzuki, being able to start that thing off, because that was really the first MMA mixed martial arts fighting organization before the UFC. It doesn't get any credit, but it was the first. And so then the UFC comes around. I got an opportunity to be one of the first guys there with Royce Gracie to bring that into the forefront. I got an opportunity with the WWF to be able to be the first guy to cross over and bring submissions into pro wrestling, and now you see them everywhere. So I was able to create a lot of things there, and also now being able to go back into MMA world to bring pro wrestling and MMA together. TNA wrestling, being able to be the first heavyweight champion there in TNA. So there was a lot of things that I was able to do first. This is just another opportunity for me to be able, I see the opportunities, and I've seen the opportunities when I was younger, of these new organizations coming up, and I jumped at the chance along with the UFC. Even though I was set over in Japan and they didn't want me to do it, I saw an opportunity that was just ready to blow up, and I wanted to make sure that I was in on it. And I went against the Japanese organization because they didn't want me to do it, and I ended up losing my job after a couple months after I started going into the UFC because I made that move. But now we see it's everywhere, and I don't regret that move. I see this with bare knuckle. I see an opportunity that people want to see bare knuckle fighting, and a lot of people want to see him stand up and fight and not go to the ground, and so we're going to give it to him.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. It's often dismaying to me as an MMA fan and as a journalist, when I see the guys take it to the ground, they're really working hard. But if the viewer doesn't understand what's going on the ground, they feel like they start to boo. And I always feel very bad for the fighters because, they're expending a lot of energy, even though we're not seeing them kicking them out on the with like in a boxing match. I agree with you that I think this is going to be an extremely exciting event. Were you a fan of bare knuckle boxing before? Had you ever heard of it, or did you just get approached by this and then kind of do your research?
Well, I mean, I did some of it when I was in college, and when I was doing pro wrestling in Mooresville, North Carolina, we called it squatting. And I would go behind a bar, a biker bar, and they, would go out and they'd bring their tough guy out, and we'd put money up, and we'd have the car lights flashing in the back of the bar because it was closed, 2 o'clock in the morning. And, the lights would go on, and we would just go at it, and the guy that won would take the money, and, that was that. And so I did a little bit of that, and it was, it was interesting. It was definitely interesting, but not where it's at. What we're trying to do with it. Well, we're trying to bring it to a professional level, like we did with NHB, where NHB was guys throwing punches and falling over each other, and no one knew what submissions were, and so it was rough in the beginning. But as time went along, it really started to tighten up and became something like a professional movement. And I believe that bare knuckle boxing has that same that same opportunity to be able to take boxing, because the gloves right now really just tells you that you don't have to be that accurate and throw hard punches and knock guys out and not hurt your hand. In bare-knuckle boxing, you have to be very accurate with your punches and very careful on how hard you throw them, or you're going to have a short career.